Here's something I do want to talk about with you a little bit. How has this case impacted you?
Me?
I mean, you've been following it from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
How has it impacted you?
Okay. This case has been incredibly difficult to follow. I've covered a number of really sad and tragic stories in my career. This is one that's going to stick with me for the rest of my life. It is one thing to see a sad story on the news. It's another to meet the people who are directly involved. Sitting in trial day after day for a month, hearing very difficult testimony, watching the reaction of people in the courtroom, that's tough. It was a good reminder that these are real people that we're dealing with every single day. Real people that we're watching listen to these horrible details about their loved ones. I'm a human too. It was hard to hear some of these details. It was difficult to watch families, multiple families in this case, just devastated by loss. And the investigators who put this together, watching how hard they work to try to find justice, to try to find a resolution in this case. I kept coming back to, I'm a human too, and this is really tough stuff, but it was really important for me to try to keep the victim at the center of our stories so that the greater public could also hear and see and feel and understand what we did sitting in that courtroom every single day. It was exhausting. It was,
It's hard not to take it home.
Yeah, it is. It is. The stories of what we heard in court were hard to leave at court. They come home with us. They sit in our minds. We turn over what we heard even long after we've finished our daily assignment for the day. And I'm constantly struck by these families and what they've gone through, and sitting there and listening and hearing and processing and watching them try to understand this loss. You feel it too. You feel saddened by what you're hearing. You feel hurt by what you're hearing. You feel frustrated or angry about the things that happen. This is a case that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. I constantly think about Kelsey Berreth and her family and the other people that were involved in this crime and how that has impacted their family. I think about Kelsey's little girl who is growing up without a mom and a dad. I think about the questions that we don't have answers to in this case. That bothers me. I wish we could provide answers. I constantly try to think about why this would have happened. It seems like such I constantly think about the why. Why did this have to happen? Why did all these families have to be ripped apart by this horrible crime? Why did this little girl have to grow up without either of her parents? When a crime is this, this was a case where there were so many horrific and salacious details, where so much was made about the people involved in the crime. It was important for us to keep the victim at the center of our focus. This was a story about Kelsey Berreth, not a story about the person who killed her, the person who helped him. It was important for us to always remember Kelsey Berreth was the center of this story, a mother of a little girl, a pilot and a flight instructor who taught people in the Air Force how to fly. A woman who is described by her friends and her family as loving and caring and gentle and a faithful woman. This is the person that our story should be focused on.